We have, it's a pleasure to be here, the Innovation Day 2025. My name is Jonas Örtquist. I'll be moderating this session on the India-Sweden Partnership on Innovation Framework for Bilateral Collaboration in Science, Technology and Innovation. During this session, we will have a brief look at its origins, at ongoing activities, such as joint calls, projects supporting the green transition, and also touch upon talent attraction and talent mobility. I have some panelists with me that I'll introduce one by one once they get in. Science, technology, and innovation is becoming increasingly important in today's world. And the India-Sweden Innovation Partnership is built on a solid ground, where there is a top-down as well as a bottom-up approach, and the triple helix model is also bringing academia, industry, and the public sector together, and in various sectors. And also expressed by the State Secretary, Sara Modig, sustainability lies at the heart. So with that short introduction, I would like to introduce the first speaker in this session. Naga Bhupati, Dr. Naga Bhupati, who is with us from New Delhi. Very nice to have you with us. He's from the International Department at the Department of Science and Technology for the Government of India. Very warm welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like it's a pleasure to have you here, and I'd like to hear your reflections, Dr. Bhupati. Your reflections on the science, technology, and innovation collaboration with Sweden. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon to all the colleagues, friends, participants from the India and Sweden. Thanks for the opportunity to address in this forum. On behalf of Department of Science and Technology, I welcome you all to the India-Sweden Innovation Day 2025. India and Sweden have long-standing close relations based on our common values, strong business investment and R&D linkages. We also have similar approaches to meet global challenges on peace, security and development. Our diplomatic relations have flourished on the back of our like-mindedness and commitment to fair trade and globalization. Innovation cooperation is the fastest growing element in the bilateral relationship between India and Sweden. Our partnership is strengthened further in April 2018 during Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi's visit to Sweden, where India agreed to deepen the collaboration through the joint declaration on innovation partnership for a sustainable future. The partnership aims to increase the impact of bilateral cooperation in innovation, science, and technology. Our partnership bridges academic institutions, R&D, intensive industry, and creative entrepreneurs to address global challenges in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. To take the joint declaration on innovation partnership forward, collaborations have been initiated in the following areas. As in your welcome remarks, as you said, partnership developing activities, startup collaboration and incubation, research development and innovation infrastructure and test beds support high-level dialogues. Our areas of cooperation span across smart cities, clean tech, nanoscience, computer science, smart grids, energy research, water, waste to wealth, circular economy, embedded systems, new technologies, digitization and Internet of Things, health and life sciences, creating test beds, digital healthcare, new materials, space, aeronautics, and recently AI. In 2019, Swedish Energy, just a little bit of backward history, recent history. In 2019, Swedish Energy Agency earmarked an additional 25 million over 4 years for a research and innovation collaboration with India. India and Sweden announced the India-Sweden Collaborative Industrial Research and Development Program, the joint program co-funded by my department and Swedish innovation agency Vinnova. We bring together the world-class excellence of Sweden and India to address challenges in the areas mentioned earlier. We both launched the leadership group for industry transition. We heard a lot in the earlier session. Lead it at the UN Climate Action Summit in 2019 to reach net zero emissions from heavy industries such as iron, steel, cement, and aluminum. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change from India is the nodal ministry for this Lead It initiative. And during COP28 in Dubai, year 2023, a new phase that is Lead It 2.0 was launched, marking a significant stride towards playing a pivotal role in accelerating the adaptation of low carbon technologies, aligning with the global environmental goals. In 2020, DST and Swedish Energy Agency signed a protocol of cooperation for collaboration in smart grid, renewable energy, and energy efficiency for the period 2019 to 2025. As part of this cooperation, a joint initiative titled India-Sweden Collaborative Industrial R&D Program and Smart Grid was announced. Under this initiative, a project was supported, led by Allied Engineering and Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and BSES from India, and Affectus AB and Rice Research Institute from Sweden. As a follow-up to that, the Indian-Sweden high-level dialogue on innovation policy has happened. A closed-door meeting was held with the India's Secretariat responsible for drafting India's new Science Technology Innovation Policy 2020. Then in 2021, India and Sweden hosted a 42 hours of digital hackathon on mobility to tackle issues regarding safe and sustainable transportation. In 2023, India and Sweden announced India-Sweden joint call for proposal in circular economy. And we have jointly recommended 3 projects, and all the 3 projects are funded from the both sides, which is ongoing right now. Further, a memorandum of cooperation was formally endorsed on March 13, 2023, forging a partnership between the formerly Science Engineering Research Board. Currently, it is named as a Anusandhan National Research Foundation under Department of Science and Technology, and the Swedish Foundation for International Cooperation in Research and Higher Education. This collaboration is geared towards enhancing cooperation and fostering research connections among academic institutions in India, Sweden through the promotion of knowledge exchange and research advancement by facilitating seminars, workshops, and conferences. Recently, the Science Counsellor Office at the Embassy of Sweden, New Delhi, and DST is working on a virtual Indo-Sweden Center of Excellence aimed to accommodate research and startup activities and leveraging business development in hard-to-abate sectors. It is intended to leverage the strengthen both nations in research, innovation, and industrial practice. Also aims to drive the adaptation of clean technologies, support the development of local value chain, and foster international cooperation. The initiative aligns with the strategic goals of achieving net zero emission and will contribute to the global leadership of both Sweden and India in attaining industrial sustainability. India is an active member in the group of Sweden IT Lead It in cement sector. This group is focusing on identifying institutions and groups of both India and Sweden working in the area of decarbonization technologies in this sector. A follow-up of this, we have jointly launched 2 calls, one through Climate, Energy and Sustainable Technology Divisions of Department of Science and Technology and in collaboration with the Swedish Energy Agency, the other from International Cooperation of DST, which I represent, and Vinnova. Both calls are focused on production process in steels and cement and alternate materials. The international cooperation, DST and Vinnova calls also have focusing on themes such as AI, alternate materials, and tools for societal impact measurements. We have launched this call on 30th June and closing on 14th November 2025, next in a couple of months. I think Ms. Jennika and Ms. Geeny will update more about these calls during their address. From the DST side, I just like to convey that maximum of 1.5 crore, that is 15 million rupees, will be awarded as grant to the successful project over a period of 2 years on reimbursement basis to the Indian industries. Please go through the TDB website for details about the eligibility criteria and the funding information. DST look forward to see more number of joint applications and successful applications this year. For any queries, please write to the implementing partner of this program, that is Technology Development Board of under Department of Science and Technology. With this, I thank my address.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Dr. Bhupati, for sharing your reflections on the innovation partnership. Now, Sweden has a strong interest in India's science, technology, and innovation landscape. And this is confirmed by the fact that the Swedish government have 1 of 7 global offices of science and innovation placed in New Delhi. And these offices, the role is to promote Swedish or innovation research and higher education, and to connect stakeholders, universities, incubators, research institutes, science parks, startups in various fields, and on both sides. So I'm very happy to have with us the Office of Science and Innovation in New Delhi, Cecilia Tal, Counsellor of Science and Innovation, and Geeny Shaju, Senior Advisor at the Office of Science and Innovation. Very welcome. I'd like to ask you if you could introduce yourselves, but also reflect on the following. 20 years of collaboration. How would you describe the partnership and the science, technology, and innovation collaboration between Sweden and India, and how it has evolved over time? Please.
Thank you very much, Jonas. I will start by introducing myself as the new Office Counsellor of Science and Innovation, Cecilia Tal, in New Delhi. And I'm very pleased to be here since about 6 weeks. So I will leave the floor to my very skilled colleague, Geeny, who has been here for a bit longer, who is also the continuum phase at the embassy, since the officers coming from Sweden usually are here a few years, and then we leave, and then we keep it back to the people who are actually at the embassy for a longer time. So Geeny, please introduce yourself and answer Jonas' question as well.
Thank you, Cecilia. Yes, I'm Geeny. I'm the Senior Advisor at the Office of Science Innovation. Cecilia and I are based out of New Delhi. And as some of you may know, this year is special. It marks 20 years of science and technology partnership between India and Sweden. I've had the fortune of being part of this partnership for a little over 2 years. And there are 4 things that come to my mind when I think of science and technology partnership between the 2 countries. Number 1 is trust. For any initiative to succeed under a bilateral setting involving multiple stakeholders, you need trust. You need to trust your partners. You need to place science at the heart of it. And this is what enables partnership. There will be challenges. There ought to be challenges, but we trust the partnership. Number 2, having a strong framework. Sweden and India do have these frameworks in place. The 20-year-old bilateral agreement on science and technology, the joint innovation partnership. These frameworks are enablers. They allow public research bodies like the Department of Science and Technology, the Indian Council of Medical Research, the Indian Ministry of Earth Sciences, the Indian Department of Biotechnology in India, obviously, and similar counterparts in Sweden, such as Formas, Forte, Vinnova, Swedish energy agencies, for them to come together and explore areas of cooperation, mechanisms of cooperation, not just for academia, but also for industry. These frameworks are a big shout out that we believe that science and innovation is the solution to our shared problems. And between the 2 countries, we have things that are needed to make it work. Number 3 is excellence. This partnership brings the best minds together, not just from academia or large industries, but also startups, entities that are emerging, because it's not just about scale, it's about the brilliance that comes together when funding agencies come together and launch research programs, industrial R&Ds. And that you will always obviously hear more about these examples during the session and in panels that have been set out in the course of the day. And my final take on the partnership is, why do we do it? Because it has impact. We do it because there are joint partnerships between the two countries, for example, using advanced AI and language models that are helping accessibility and comprehension, providing quality education. We do it because there are joint projects, again, focusing on health, tackling with cancer and sepsis using digitization through AI. We do it because there are innovative solutions and projects that are bringing bio-based circular interventions to manage our solid waste in urban societies and cities. So I will leave the gathering here with my 4 takeaways. We do it and we have trust. We have a solid framework. There is excellence in our partnership, and there is excellence with impact. Thank you. Back to you, Jonas.
Thank you, Geeny. Very well summarized. We have also with me on stage national agencies from Sweden. So I'll move on to the next part. And you know, in Sweden there are several agencies working on the partnership. But today we're focusing on innovation and R&D. So first out with me here, I have Jennika Gill Noltorp from the Swedish innovation agency Vinnova, program manager. Please, Jennika, could you tell us from your perspective about Vinnova's role and example from your work with India?
Can you hear me? Yep, you can. So first of all, thank you, and really happy to see so many of you both on site and digitally joining for this session. So as Sweden's innovation agency, Vinnova promotes innovation that contributes to sustainable development. And a key part of that is international collaboration. And this Sweden-India partnership we have is a great example of that. And I'm really grateful to have Mr. Nagabopati here because, of course, Vinnova really values the fruitful and close cooperation we have with DST, the Department of Science Technology especially, and also the Department of Biotechnology, DBT, who is not with us today. But together, I would say we have built a really solid collaboration, and that's built on knowledge exchange, dialogue, and also having the possibility to make these joint calls that we already heard a couple of examples from. And together right now with DST, we have 6 ongoing projects within various fields of science and technology. And together with DBT, the Department then of Biotechnology, we have 5 ongoing projects within health, and also the application of AI in health. And I would like to highlight one huge collaborative joint call, and that is the one within circular economy that we had together in 2022. And in that specific call, we were 9 authorities from India and Sweden making that possible. So from the Indian side, it was DST and DBT, as I mentioned, but also MOES, the Ministry of Earth Science, and BIREC. And on the Swedish side, we were 5 authorities, so except for Vinnova, it was a Swedish Energy Agency, but also the Swedish Research Council. We also had Formas, which is specifically doing and responsible for research within sustainable society and urban development. And also Forte, who is focusing and responsible for research within work-life, welfare and health. And this broad collection led to a lot of interest. We had a lot of applications, proposals coming in. And at last we found 8 projects that we were able to finance within this joint call. And these 8 ongoing projects, they work on different fields within circular solutions. And today we are pleased, I hope, to showcase one of these projects, ResortTex. And that is really a true example of what we can make possible together when we're doing these joint calls. So I will ask Jonas to present.
Yes, thank you. And we're happy to introduce from Borås, the Professor Rudrajeet. I know that you would like to be called Rudy, so I'll call you Rudy. From the Swedish School of Textiles, University of Borås. Nice to have you with us. And I would like to ask you, as a project lead for this project, ResortTex, could you tell us about the project and the project partners, Rudy?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jonas, for the introduction, and also to the entire audience, both digitally present and audience physically there, and also to the moderator or to the panel. Nice to be here. Well, I would have started saying that I'm a professor and so on and so forth, but I think I would rather say that, well, I'm a good example of this collaboration right from the start. I remember Douglas sitting there. I was a master student when I came to Sweden and was the first Swedish Institute scholarship holder in textile, and then it started from there. And happy to be here. Dr. Nagabhupati mentioned about some of the successful collaborations between DST and Swedish funding agencies, for example, Formas. And I'm actually a PI for one of these projects on textile circular economy. Following that, I'm also leading a project on a similar area, which is funded by STINCT, the Swedish Strategic Education and Strategic Research, which is on increasing internationalization and mobilization. So basically what I see is, and I don't want to sound cliche here, is that the collaboration precedes collaboration, which means that even before we started the project, what we decided and discussed is that in order to build the collaboration, in order to build the trust, which are very important, but we need to take small steps at a time. So basically, I'll give you 2 examples, which sort of, when I reflect on the 2.5 years of the developments and quote-unquote success in the project, what we have been able to do is to sort of institutionalize our practices and habits of collaborating. I remember that before even starting the project, what we said that, well, what I mean by we here is my co-PI from Indian Institute of Technology in IIT Delhi. And we decided that we need to bring the ecosystem together. The project that we are doing is Textile Circular Economy. It is a very strategic project, not only bringing the academicians together or the academic partners together, but also bringing the industry. It's a very applied project, innovation project, bringing the Swedish brands, for instance, some of the recyclers, and also similarly the entire textile value chain from India as well. So basically bringing this multi-stakeholder ecosystem from both the countries together. How do we do that? So let's do some stakeholder activities even before we start the project to break the glass. We invited the Ministry of Textiles. We were happy to have a very, very positive response from the Indian side there. We invited the stakeholders like different brands and the textile players like Aditya Birla, H&M, for example. So I think that sort of initiated that there is an interest, understanding each other's voices. And from there, I think when the project started, we took it very casually. I would rather say one of the key essences of the collaboration was communication. We started, of course, formal meetings, which is bound to be there, but sort of informal discussions. What I see is that tomorrow, take up phone, have a WhatsApp call with not only our Indian partner sitting in the university, but a textile recycler sitting in the fringes of Panipat outside New Delhi. So it took time, but when we were able to do that, we sort of create a seamless conversation among all the actors between the Indian ecosystem and the Swedish ecosystem. And I think, as I reflect back, I've been reflecting on your question now, I think those are the most instrumental critical success factors in order to run a very complex topic of textile circular economy, bringing two cultural ecosystems together and making it really work within a very short period of time, like 3 years project duration. And so, yeah, I'll stop there, but that is my takeaways from what we try to sort of practice within the scope of the project to make it really operational and work.
Thank you, Rudy. Thank you. I was going to ask you about you touched upon the 2 critical success factors. It's really interesting to learn from your project. Coming back to you in a bit. So I know that, coming back to you, Jennika, I know that Vinnova and DST have a joint open call at the moment. Could you please tell us about it?
Yes, of course. So as Dr. Nagabupati, my dear colleague at DST, touched upon, we have right now an open call together with DST and also TDB, Technology Development Board. And it's a joint call supporting collaborative R&D projects between Indian and Swedish actors. And it is a great opportunity, we would like to say, for companies and actors in both countries to co-develop innovative solutions and technologies and also processes or advanced services for the green transition. Here we come back to the importance to work, all of us, for the green transition again, and also connecting it to the green transition in specifically the steel and cement industry, and that's aligned to the Lead It initiative that we also will hear more about in a separate session later on today. And the aim for our joint call is then to create sustainable solutions, but also with market potential. So each project must be led by a company, both at the Indian side and Swedish side being the project leaders. But then we encourage the consortia to, of course, including all the necessary research performing actors, such as universities, research institutes, or other relevant stakeholders. And to then look upon in what areas we define this call. So the projects should focus on 1 or more of 4 sub-themes that we've put in the call, and we really welcome also the combinations between the sub-themes. And here I need my write a note here, because the 4 sub-themes then, they are AI as an enabler, and this is also a cross-cutting theme relevant for all areas, and that also comes back to what we heard before in the panel, that AI is really crucial in more or less everything we do within innovation area today. We also have the sub-theme optimization of production processes. Another sub-theme is alternative materials, which could be sustainable alternatives or subsidiaries to steel and cement. And also tools for societal impact measurement. And these are the 4 sub-themes, and as I said, it's very welcome to combine the different sub-themes, so it's quite a wide call. And the funding then will be provided by Vinnova for the Swedish participants and by DST and TDP by your side for the Indian participants, as we usually do in our joint calls. And all funding decisions are based on joint, I would say, evaluation and also recommendations. And the key dates, I will repeat now what I think Nagabupati just told, but it's good with repetition regarding these calls. So the call is open since June 30th, and it will close, which is more important, the 14th of November. So that is a very crucial date if you're interested to apply. And the projects can be up to 24 months, and the starting date at the earliest in May or June 2026. That's the estimated start date. And as we said, this is very much in alignment with the Lead It initiative, and that's really thought out well, and I think it will be a great contribution for the Lead It goals. So on behalf of DST, and I'll speak for you as well, Nagabupati and TDB, I would like them to do a shout out that please look at our call. All the details are on our respective websites. And of course, pass the word to relevant stakeholders that you think would be interested of this call. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennika. Thank you. So moving on, no innovation without talent. And we heard about, earlier this morning, we heard about the importance of talent attraction. So I'm now turning to my right to the Swedish Institute, Douglas Washburn, head of unit, at the Talent Attraction and Export Promotion Unit. Very welcome. From your perspective, I mean, the Swedish Institute, you have received increased funding and new tasks also for scaling up work with talent attraction to Sweden. Could you tell us about this, please?
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks for the invitation to be here today. Just very briefly about the Swedish Institute, because I don't know if any of you in the audience know it today. We're a public agency under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and just generally speaking, we work to strengthen, protect, and analyze the image of Sweden abroad. And one of our priority areas is talent attraction, which is now prioritized by the government. Jonas, you said we increased funding. At the start of the year, start of 2025, we got funding to scale up our work with talent attraction, which is great because it's so important for our companies. It's one of the main bottlenecks for growth, I think, in Sweden. And we're doing this in a lot of ways. So our focus is highly skilled talent, just to be clear. So a huge focus on IT, tech, engineers, good match with India. And we also work with actually retaining international students. So Rudrajeet is a perfect example of this. We get thousands of international master's students coming to Sweden every year in STEM subjects, and 70% of them want to stay and only around 25% of them stay. So that's another area we're working to kind of fill the talent gap. And just briefly, like how we work with this, how we're scaling up. So a lot has happened in the last year. We're scaling up every aspect of our work. Digital communication, so workinsweden.com. If you want to go there and see our website, we've had over 100,000 visitors so far this year. We have social media channels, a new Work in Sweden LinkedIn, and we've had millions of, we reach millions in our different social media channels, whether that's video content through Sweden's official YouTube or whatnot. We also work with events abroad. Together with our Swedish foreign missions. They're our extended arm because the Swedish Institute, we're based in Stockholm. This year, we've had, I think, 5 Work in Sweden events so far. We have more planned this autumn. We've had a number of study and work kind of combined events, of course, in India. I think Jennika and Jonas, you guys were both there in the spring. And then we also have events for students accepted to master's studies in Sweden to prepare them for a career. And we have had over 20 of those this spring. And we have a deep collaboration with Swedish actors as well. We're deeply involved in the Swedish Agency for Economic and Regional Growth, the Work in Sweden initiative on a national level, kind of looking at the different kind of bottlenecks and hindrances and regulations that make it harder for talents to come here, while our focus is on the marketing and communication aspect. Yeah, so it's a brief summary of how we work.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Douglas. And a bit more specifically then on India, Sweden, could you tell us a bit more what's happening?
Yeah, sure. So I'm not just saying this because I'm here today, but India is our most important market, both in terms of numbers and also the skill sets. I mean, there's so many highly skilled workers in India that align with Sweden's needs in IT, tech, and engineering. And so last spring, just to be a little bit more concrete, there was events in Delhi and Bangalore, together with the Swedish Embassy and also with the Swedish Agency for Economic and Regional Growth. It's harder in English than Swedish, Tillväxtverket, if you know the Swedish term. And that was together with, we had visits from Norrbotten and Dalarna and SSAB and Hitachi, for example. And there's, I think, been over 250 job applications from that. Hundreds of people attending those events. We have more events planned this autumn in Bangalore. So I see Lisa from our Work in Sweden team looking very attentively. Thank you, Lisa. She has her hands up. If you want to take part in the Work in Sweden events in Bangalore in November, there we have participation from Move to Gothenburg, so the West Swedish Chamber of Commerce, Volvo, Corretura, which is a joint venture between Volvo Group and Chrysler. Speak to Lisa if you want to take part in those events. The goal of this event is to have companies taking part where they have job openings and they need to attract talent. So speak to Lisa. Or you can also email us at workinsweden@si.se, but speak to Lisa. It's much easier. Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas. Super interesting. coming back to you then, Rudy, as a professor with a long experience from research in both India and Sweden, what would you see, I mean, based on your insights, what do you see as the most important enablers for academic collaboration?
Well, I want to again bombard with a lot of buzzwords, but for me it's very simple. I'm trying to reflect on our sort of the last 5 years of synergistic collaboration, and I think what we normally do, what the key enabler is to actually put on the table what are our wish list, and not only from my point of view, my co-PI who is sitting in India in a premier institution, the enormous ecosystem that we are working with from the industry, even the policymakers here, to be on the very starting point, not what are your strengths, what are your expertise, what are your opportunities, but really make a wish list that what we want to do through is collaboration. Maybe some of them, maybe 90% of them would not work, but the key takeaway from here is 10% would work. And then actually it creates, how can we make it work? And it's very, perhaps again, going back to, it sounds very philosophical, but actually when we have done that, it makes the expectations much clearer. How are we aligned? Or if we are misaligned, how do we make it work? So I think the key enabler in this, from a very operational point of view, to really make a wish list and take it from there. And also that creates, why I mentioned is that it also creates a roadmap that what we could do, particularly in a project, what we could not do, and how we could seed the next collaboration on next project, for example, or in next initiative. So a wish list is something which will be very sticky and it will keep on. And if that is weaved properly, that would create a very good scalable working plan, very good scalable roadmap. So I think the key takeaway for the biggest enabler of successful collaboration, at least from my experience, was that create a nice wish list, share with it, and sort of work on it on a periodic and continuous level.
Thank you. Thanks for those wise reflections, Rudy. Now we're entering the final part of this session, and we're gonna look ahead and see how we can scale. We've heard about some examples of activities within the partnership. So Cecilia, I would like to go back to you as a new Science and Innovation Counsellor in Delhi. Looking ahead, scaling the innovation partnership, Cecilia, from your perspective, what is needed to upscale the partnership and co-create sustainable solutions between India and Sweden, please?
Thank you very much, Jonas. And as we have heard, a lot of things are already happening, and it's quite tricky actually looking 20 years ahead when you know the history. And when we signed the partnerships 20 years ago, a lot of challenges that we have today with the green transition and other things were not in place. We have a lot of new technology that will enable new solutions for the future as well. But I think there are a few things that we actually should try to work with because of the strength of India and the strength of the Swedish partnership. And in Sweden, we have a very, very long cooperation within the triple helix. We are used to, the industry is used to having long-term relationships with the academia and also with the society, and that is something that we are quite we believe quite strongly that is a part of our success in a few of the areas. And it's also been noted that a lot of the industry transition needs quite long term for the development is costly. You need to change a lot of things. So I think that is something that we also need to address together and to see how can we cooperate on both parts, both Sweden and India. So that is one and I think is important. But also if we look at the green transition in Sweden, we have quite recently, I think, understood that it's not only about going to net zero, it's also a lot about the prevention of loss of biodiversity that leads to other things that are not good for us, but also the lower use of resources. And we have quite a high resource use in Sweden if you compare to many other countries. So it's also about that discussion, and also thinking about previously we always sorted out our problems at the last stage, when we realized, okay, we have a waste problem, then we sorted out waste recycling. But also now we should try to avoid certain things. And there I think we can actually learn a lot from both India and Sweden between ourselves. And if you look at the summer when we had water shortage in Visby, in a local place in Sweden, we actually turned to Indian researchers saying, you're used to this, how should we really avoid this for coming years? Since we usually haven't had the water shortage in Sweden. So I think that's also, I mean, we should look to each other's strength and the possibilities to work ahead with the countries. And I mean, it's a huge amount of people. If you look, I mean, not only to Sweden, we are also part of EU. If we look at the EU-India partnership, it will be the largest one in the world. So, I mean, we have a lot of possibilities if we could really strengthen this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cecilia. And well, thank you all for valuable insights. From what I hear, there's a lot of things cooking and looking ahead, a great potential. Vinnova and DST have an open call, as we heard. And Douglas, finally, I know the Swedish Institute, you have things going on as well. Could you just quickly tell us about the new Team Sweden initiative?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to stay and mingle, but I unfortunately can't because I have to go back to the office because we're launching Team Sweden Talent Attraction today, which is a group or network basically together with Swedish actors, Hitachi Energy, SSAB, AstraZeneca, Textiles, to make sure that a Swedish institute, we're attracting the type of talent our companies leave. So a press release just went out this morning and we're going to be launching that at lunchtime here. So yeah.
Great. Good luck with that. And I'd like to thank you all for the attention. I'd like to thank the panelists and also all of you for your both the intention and your commitment to the Sweden-India Innovation Partnership. Thank you.